Hello,
Exciting.
Googans.
Coming at you live in HD, it looks like.
HD.
Is this the same camera you always had?
It is.
Huh. Who knew? I always
knew?
thought it was kind of rinky-dink more than this. But
yeah,
maybe it's the backlighting.
We upped the production budget.
Is that what we did?
Yeah, we got some extra lighting.
There's one thing about today's show that lingers, and I'm not sure, and it kind of came up haphazardly, and then it felt like it was offered and accepted willingly, but I'm really not sure if there an actual dime bet occurred in today's program.
That was weird. It kind of came in passing.
So I'm going to say
no. It felt
no.
like it was official, but then
I'm
it wasn't.
I'm going to say no because because I don't want to come back now in a week and somebody say, oh, maybe you made a dime bet, and regardless, because I will stand by my position. We were talking about Gronkowski, and I just got a pretty.
Was it as simple as will he, won't he?
Yes. Will he play this year? Will he come back? Do you think that he will rejoin the?
I think he does. What is your response to Fred Taylor murdering Gene Fournette?
I think Fred is surprising me here. I don't know. He's I don't know where this vehemence and this aggressiveness is coming from. Fred has always seemed to get it. I don't know why he is attacking the one group that has supported him more than anyone, and that is the local media has always been very supportive of Fred, except for the whole Fragile Fred thing. Whoever did that, and I don't remember who it was. It wasn't me. That's all I know. That was unfair and way harsher than it needed to be, and whoever coined that one is idiotic. Yeah. But other than that, the local media has supported Fred, and and so what happened is Gene Fournette had a column this weekend for that 8% of you that still reads the paper, and the column basically kind of took Fred to task a little bit. And again, it was pretty soft-edged. It wasn't hard. It wasn't condemning Fred, but it kind of
just sort of a critical eye.
Shout out to Ed, who's given us some Braves love
from Bahrain.
On assignment, on deployment over there. So
get home safe, Ed.
Yeah, Ed. Maybe win one for you this year.
Maybe it wasn't harsh, but it was critical of Fred's reaction to being number 2.
And so Fred came back 25. This morning in the tweet. I mean, he was just
very.
Here's what's bothering me about Fred and this tack that he's taken. He's like it's this name calling. I don't understand. I mean. Yeah. And that was never Fred's style as a player. It just makes you wondering if something's going on with Fred. Yeah, I mean, just like personally or otherwise. Right. But because here's what happened. Fred didn't respond to what Gene wrote. Fred responded to what some of the message board guys said about Gene.
Right.
And then Gene in protecting his own viewpoint and his own reputation, fired back at the message board trolls who are, as usual, very, condescending and unflattering.
Yeah.
And then Fred, seemed to be reacting more to that.
Maybe so yeah. It's surprising, though, from Fred.
I mean, Fred, I just wonder how Fred would feel if Jimmy Smith were on social media every day telling everyone how they got it wrong with Fred number 2, and Fred's a good player, but I was better than Fred. Where was Fred when I was leading us to the AFC Championship? Where was Fred when I made the catch in the end zone? Where was Fred when I was all-pro? So, and I made this point this morning before Fred ever said anything, and this is what I would tell Fred this. I said, well, Fred, I mean, Jimmy's got as much argument to catch you at 2 as you do to catch Baselli at 1. Maybe you both have the same argument going to 1, but you, by just firmly establishing yourself not as just the second best player, but the first best, is whether or not you mean to, you're being pretty condescending to your other players and teammates. So, I don't know. I just wish Fred had not opened this can of worms, because what he's doing is he's alienating and insulting. Fred was our guy. We argued for you to be in the Pro Bowl when you weren't. You were attacking the local media when it's the national media you have a beef with.
Right.
And the national media doesn't follow our lead. No. If we talk to high heaven about the Jags and Fred Taylor in 1998, it doesn't mean that's what they're doing in Boston or Chicago or Philly.
That's why I got such a chuckle when this first came down and everybody said that, Baselli's Hall of Fame candidacy was driven by local media. And so we have any...
No, and I said that then. Baselli's Hall of Fame candidacy was fueled by the 96 postseason, when he's on every slow-mo, throwing Bruce Smith around of the Bills like he's nothing, throwing Alfred Williams around of Denver like he's nothing. Come back the next year on Monday night, and Jason Taylor, you embarrass him and taunt him. Baselli earned that.
Right.
But Fred is, one thing about Fred that is apparently just kind of built and built and built and now is just exploding, is that he has been way too overlooked his whole career.
Yeah. And we'd be the first to tell you that.
Like, in my mind, and this is fair, in my mind, like, I thought Fred should have been Rookie of the Year at the time.
Right.
But as time has evolved and there's more distance, Randy Moss won it that year. They were both rookies.
Right.
And in my mind, I remember, because Randy Moss won it, I remember him having 100 receptions and 1,600 yards and 17 touchdowns. Well, then you look at the numbers, and guess what? Fred did have a more productive year than Randy Moss. Right. He was just stuck on the Jags and not playing for a traditional team.
Right. And that was kind of Fred's, one of his subsequent tweets. He said if Moss hadn't had that big Monday coming out game against Green Bay, it probably would have been a different story. And maybe he's right. But,
well, in fairness, but the Jags were also on Monday Night Football that year too, and so the
method is puzzling from Fred.
It's weird. It doesn't sound like Fred,
right?
And so that's, I guess, what surprised me. And now we'll see. It just this is the point where I would tell Gene, who's probably with the team in Baltimore, to just take the high road and not respond anymore.
Yeah.
And so. And I don't understand the faction of the fan base and in arguing for Fred demeans and diminishes Boselli. I mean, what are we doing here? We're like cannibalizing our own. We're cannibalizing ourselves here. It's just so lay off
over a silly offseason list.
A silly list, and Fred is starting to do long-term damage to what people feel about him. I mean, just based on, again, it's the name calling. This guy's a joke, and this guy's an idiot, and this guy didn't know how to do his job. Well, easy,
buddy.
Anyway.
All good.
Jags are in Baltimore today. Those are workouts to start today.
Game week.
Tony will join us. I did say earlier today I started with ambivalence, and then it became annoyance, and then it's frustration, and I'm nearing anger with the NFL in this preseason and the way it's scheduled and done. They rip you off, and they print money at the league, and so for them to charge you full price to go to preseason games, it's just a joke. And then I was kind of reminded of that by. I really wish the Ravens workouts were here. I wish I could go watch today because you learn a lot more and you get a lot more entertained in these workouts than I will in the game on Thursday night.
Sure. Yeah, I'd much rather watch these two sessions between these two clubs than whatever nonsense we're going to get in preseason week 1.
Correct.
We're not going to see anything.
Yeah.
We're going to see Nick Foles for a series. We're going to see a whole lot of Gardner Minshew. And then we're going to vomit in our mouths when Tanner Lee comes in. That's what we're
correct. Now, some teams are will do it more than others. Gus used to play his guys into the third quarter. I just don't know if anyone is going to do that anymore.
No.
The big news, of course, Yannick Ngakoue is back, and whether or not he should have taken the deal the Jags offered, that's up to him.
Right.
But it does put the position a little bit more up in the air moving forward after this year. So, you like to be as established as you can. But the point I made today before the show is, you do have Josh Allen you just drafted. Right. And if he comes in and he's Khalil Mack, you can't afford to pay Yannick Ngakoue $100 million. Nor would you necessarily need to.
Right.
So,
but at least for 2019, like a lot of the Googans pointed out, they threw Ngakoue right out there and had a front with Ngakoue and Allen on the ends, and Calais Campbell shifted inside. And
that's pretty good.
Best of luck. Yeah. Offensive lines.
Yeah. And the defense, it's going to need to be a strength of this football team while the offense finds itself, especially with guys coming off of injury and undetermined roles.
Right. So. I mean, we hope the offense is improved. We think it'll be improving under Nick Foles, but it's still, until we see it, it's a question mark.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
All right, Googans.
Yep.
Tomorrow, breakfast with Boselli as we get ready for preseason week 1.
And Hicken after the drill.
So we'll see if we can...
I'm only contracted once a week.
Once a week, he did it. He'll be on the podcast tomorrow, though, All Things Gators, so tune in for that. Love you, Googans.